Okay, so now we are going to start part two of coloring in this image from Jade Summer's Hidden Garden. And I just kind of wanted to show you that I did go ahead, like I said in my first video, was going to finish filling in, coloring in the rest of that leaf there. And then I went ahead and finished in coloring the rest of the leaves that I wanted it to be that, you know, olive green and lime green color from when I started here earlier. So I just saw a couple more of those leaves that I wanted to keep that color, so I went ahead and filled those in. And now we're going to go ahead and I think we're going to go and do this flower right there. And I'm going to go move my camera and get a little bit closer to that image so that we can start on it. Okay, so what I was thinking, okay, let me put some pencils away over here, that I wanted to do like a violet purpley flower here. And I think the colors that I have chosen for that is this Prismacolor Premier, of course, PC 932 in violet, and then I was going to pair it up with a lighter color, this lilac color once again, PC 956. Okay, and then I may blend it in later on either with the Prismacolor white pencil, the 938, or with the PC 914, the cream colored pencil. So I'll figure that one out once I actually get done. And so we'll go ahead and get started with coloring this in. So I'm going to go ahead and color in like I did earlier with this blue, cobalt blue and light aqua that I did on the previous flower. And this time around, same thing, soft circular strokes here, coloring in. Start at the bottom with that violet color. And so I'll go around this first half of this this blossom here, and then we'll add that lilac color after. And I'll just fill in this first round of it, and then I can show you how we're gonna go about doing that. Well, I don't think you folks will have much trouble following that one along. It's pretty easy. And also, if you don't have, like, you know, these name brand pencils like Prismacolor and Faber-Castell pencils and stuff like that, don't even worry about it. You can create all of this even just using the, you know, like the student quality pencils like you would get at Walmart or wherever, like Crayola and Crazy Art, and I use them. And those depends on the project or image that I am wanting to color. But I have no qualms whatsoever, no issues using student grade pencils. To me, it's color. It helps me color. It puts color on my paper. There are some brands that are a little bit harder to blend with, and there are some brands that I find that I need to press a little bit harder to get, you know, to get the effect that I want or the depthness of the color that I want, but it still doesn't deter me from from, from using them. It's like, if I have it and that's all I have, then that's what I'm going to use. Just because you have expensive pencils, name brand, artist quality pencils, that is not going to turn you into no super, colorist or whatever. You still need some kind of, I guess, skill, you could say. It's not going to automatically turn you to this insta painter or insta, super colorist. That takes a lot of practice, and I am in awe of those that can just whip out a coloring page and can turn it in such a piece of art. And it's just like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? How did you do that so quickly? And it just takes years of practice. And some folks are just naturally have that natural talent, and then there are those that actually, they went to school for it, got training for it, so they know the ins and outs and what to do, what not to do, and understand the whole color theory, um, that whole color theory thing. And for me, I'm just a person that loves to color as a hobby and as my own personal therapy. So, okay, so now I finished, let me see, I finished that first, circle in of this blossom, this first round, and I filled it in with that violet color. And now I'm going to go on top with it and blend it in with some of this lilac. This is the PC 956 Prismacolor pencil, and I'm just going to blend some of that on top, and just, you know, like I said, I'll always say slow circular strokes to fill in that color. Easier on your hands, easier on your pencils, and it's just easier all the way around. And I think, well, I like the color that's coming out of there. Just wanted to show you this first round of what the color is going to look like and the effect that it's looking like. And so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, almost done with that. I know I for sure have lots to learn when it comes to the world of coloring. One of these days I'm actually going to need to make a color chart of my pencils. I don't have one. I have not made one. I always have the intentions of making one. I just never actually do it. I don't know why, but I think I should. It probably will help me out a lot more with coloring, choosing my color palettes, but I don't know. I haven't quite thought about it. Okay, so now I'm going to use this PC 938. It's the, the white Prismacolor pencil, and I'm going to use this to blend in the colors together to see how it turns out to be. And I am starting from the light, and then I'm going to go to the dark area just to get those, the rest of the white spots off of the paper. Blend the colors in together, and then it will just nicely soften up that color. See? So I'm going to do the same thing to the rest of this first round of blossom. Just, I'm not using too much pressure when I'm doing blending in. I would say it's like medium pressure, just so that I can drag the rest of the color that's underneath and be able to blend the colors together. One thing that I do like about this Prismacolor white pencil is that it pretty much blends beautifully. I just like the way that it really helps blend colors in. And also when you use like a white pencil to blend your colors in, it softens up the color too, so keep that in mind. And some people, I mean, people have different ways that they choose to blend. Some people use the Prismacolor colorless blending pencils. Some will use Vaseline. Some will use some mineral spirits like Gamsol and blend that in. And some will use a lighter colored pencil to blend everything in together. So it's just your personal preference and what effects you're trying to get at. Okay, so you guys see now that what I've done there, and now how everything looks nice and it's smoothed out. And so I got that dark, you know, that violet color that I first laid down here, and then I used lilac for the outside color and just kind of blended that stuff, those two colors in together, and finished it off by blending in with that white Prismacolor pencil. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and use my PC 932, the violet color, and I'm going to go around and fill in the rest of this blossom with the violet first, and then come back around and use the lilac to get the outer effects of that blossom, and then go back around again to blend it with that white pencil. And like I said, no rushing whatsoever here, just enjoying my time with my pencils and my paper, and also trying not to have my hand block my camera here, so you guys can continue to see what I'm doing. Okay, so just coloring in. Alrighty. Okay, so just like I said, I'm just going to color in the rest of this. So I really hope that as time goes along and as I make more YouTube videos, that you guys will actually find them helpful with your coloring journey, and that I can do a good job of trying to explain to you what I've learned and what I've picked up along the way from other colorists out there. I am a non-stop sponge when it comes to seeking knowledge and new ways to do things, and other ways, that I can tolerate, my body will tolerate in order to keep me busy. I have, let me see, what other hobbies do I do besides coloring? Well, besides coloring, let's see, I do enjoy knitting, crocheting, making some quilts. I do want to eventually get into scrapbooking. Now that I have the time to do all that. Now that I am no longer in the workforce, being disabled. But I have to wait on the scrapbooking part until I can actually afford to get supplies, I guess you could say. I'm not quite sure how much all that stuff runs, and I have to do a little bit more research on it. But sometimes I doubt if I'm going to be able to do that, because coloring is quite addictive. I can just say that right now. I've been going on coloring for, I would have to say, almost 2 years now, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And I really don't care if other people think that it's a childish thing. You know, there are going to be some people out there that have that opinion. And you know what? Oh well. I'm doing something I'm enjoying. I'm not hurting nobody. And it helps me. It helps me cope with daily life stressors and my health issues and whatnot. And every now and again too, um I do product reviews. So I review products out there that get sent to me, and I will, will review a product. I'll use it as it's intended, give my opinions about it and whatnot. And it's just something that, I dibble dabble on a little bit of everything, just trying to keep myself occupied. I hate being bored, and I have to keep busy. Otherwise, I don't know, people with let's see, with, chronic, especially chronic pain conditions. If you guys, those that are afflicted with it, notice that once you actually, your body stops, like if you're trying to rest for the rest of the day, like at nighttime or anytime that you're just, you're not doing anything and you're just sitting there, it feels like pain just decides that it's gonna, it's really gonna show its head full force, and it seems like everything just kind of just, the pain itself just kind of, I don't know how to say it, but it kind of demands the attention, and then you can't take your mind off of it. So by using coloring, coloring is a coping mechanism for me to distract my brain from all of that. And if I could color while I'm asleep, I probably would. But unfortunately, I'm not talented like that. So yeah, I do have to knock myself out to sleep just so that I can get a break from this pain. And let's see. Okay, just finishing coloring and the rest of the blossom here with my violet, like I said, just going in, filling in that color. Haven't had to sharpen my pencil just yet. Another trick that I picked up while, learning and all that about coloring and watching other colorists out there, is that one way to minimize having to sharpen your colored pencils and to save your colored pencils is to, as you're coloring, is to kind of just rotate your pencil every now and again so that you're using a different end piece right there, and it kind of keeps it even, and it helps keeping bluntness away, I guess you could say. And it just, like I said, it just helps minimize the how many times you're going to need to sharpen your pencil to get that nice sharp edge, and if you wanted to really get into some detailed work. I myself am still trying to get used to that, rotating every now and again. I have a thing that thinking that I need to have my colored pencils to that almost going to stab you sharpness point. So I have a tendency sometimes to over sharpen my pencils because I want that sharp point. And so I try to remind myself that, rotate your pencil every so often while coloring so that it will even out the rest of the lead on the other sides. And that should help. And also keeping a light hand also. Light layering works best than having a heavy hand and going in full force, and you will break your lead, your pencil leads easier that way. You will run down your pencils and you will ruin the tooth of the paper, you know, that you're trying to color in, and the faster you ruin that tooth of the paper, the less color that you're going to be able to layer down. Okay, so now that I've got that violet laid down on the rest of the petals in this blossom, I'm going to switch over back to my lilac, and I hope you can see it. It is right there, 9:56, and we're going to go ahead and blend in and fill in the rest of the color here. You know, still with that light touch, light blending in. Okay, just gonna go around and finish filling in the petals with this color. And then I'm gonna go over it, blending in with my white pencil later once I'm all done. When I'm doing videos like this and I'm actually sitting here talking to y'all and explaining things, don't mind me. Sometimes if I just ramble on, it's kind of, you know, I'm sharing my thoughts with y'all, and I hope y'all don't mind it. Okay. And if it's too much for you guys, hey, leave me a comment and just let me know if, you know, if any of my videos are helping you, what I need to change. I do think I need to get a better mic or something for me to use, since I have noticed that, you know, when I'm making some videos that some of the sounds, like my voice comes out differently, and the audio quality is not as great, you know, as I would like it to be. So eventually, depending on how everything else turns out, you know, with this new journey of mine of making YouTube videos, on possibly picking up an external mic. I am just using the mic that, you know, is included with my laptop. I really don't think that you know, a person would need to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on equipment unless that is actually their, you know, professional job, is to make YouTube videos, full-time YouTubers, I guess you would call them. And yes, they do make some awesome videos, and I know I'm nothing comparable to that, but I'm just sharing with everyone else and you folks out there that if you're watching my channel, it's because you all share the same interests with as I do, for the love of coloring. And like I said, any suggestions and comments that you guys might have on how I can better these videos and whatnot, and what would you like to know? Is there a certain technique that you guys want to learn or want to know or want to be shown how to do? Just let me know and we'll see what we can come up with as a solution for that. So I'm getting to the end of adding in this lilac color, and we're going to be switching over to be using the white Prismacolor pencil so I can blend everything together. And then we'll go and color in the leaves of this blossom. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do with the rest of the picture. And if you guys missed it, like I said, this image is by Jade Summer, from one of her books that are out there right now, one of her adult coloring books. And this book is called Hidden Garden. It is available on Amazon. And I will put up links to her page, her Amazon, and all that stuff later on here. And you guys can see that later when you guys are looking at the comments and all that stuff. I'll be putting up links. Okay, so as you can see, I switched over now to my Prismacolor white blending pencil, PC938. And there you go, just in case I need to show you folks again. And I am just going over and with some medium pressure here, just blending everything together, blending that violet that I used for the bottom that I first laid down, and that lilac that I did for the top of each petal. And I'm just, like I said, using some medium pressure, circular strokes, and just blending it all together. And I'm going to do this for the rest of this blossom. I don't know what this flower is called. I do not know. I'm not really familiar with names of flowers and plants. So I'm just calling this a blossom. If it's not something, you know, common like an orchid or a rose, tulips, stuff like that, you know, regular everyday common plants and flowers, it's not something that I would know at the top of my head as to what kind of flower they are. All I know is flowers are pretty, and I do love coloring in pictures, you know, line art that have garden scenes and flowers and leaves. Although sometimes leaves can get a little bit overwhelming, but also at the same time, I mean, yeah, you get tired of coloring in leaves, but then at the same time, it gives you lots of practice. It's you know, it's something that you can do to help you relax. You know, it's something easy. You can just sit there and just slowly just melt away with your colors, with your coloring, doing leaves. And anytime I need a break from coloring or whatever like that, I don't sit here all day and just color. Well, first of all, my body won't be able to tolerate that. But if I feel like I'm running out of ideas and whatnot on how to go on with my, you know, whichever image that I am coloring at that time, I'll sit back, take a break, think about it later, maybe, and then pick up where I left off and just keep continuing on until I finish that image. I know there are folks out there that have a few work in progress projects going on all at the same time. I really try not to do that unless I have certain responsibilities that I need to take care of when it comes to the coloring world. So if it's just something that I can take my time with, then I will. I'll enjoy it and take my time. Like I said, anytime that I feel like I need a break, I will just do that, take a break, and come back later on. And with a, you know, fresh view, and try to see what else I can do with that image. Okay, almost getting to the end of this part. So, and then after that, we'll color in the leaves. I'm thinking I might just use the same colors as I used with the previous leaves in the other blossom that I colored in. And colors that I used there were the kelp green, the chartreuse, and pale sage. Those are the three main colors that I used in those leaves. And I'm just making sure that my white specks that are from the paper that are still showing through are being blended in with the rest of the colors here, so that everything has a nice, smooth, even look. And there we go. And that part is done. And if, anytime that, you're doing something like this and you want, for example, that you want the, the color to be a little bit, a little deeper, you can always go back in, as long as you did not, use and abuse the tooth of your paper, you can always come back in with your darker color and add a little bit more color. Just like what you see what I'm doing now is that I wanted, I wanted some of the darker, the violet to kind of still, show through here and give it a little bit more depth. So, and since I know I did not ruin the tooth of my paper, I know that I can go back in and do that. And I'm sharpening my pencil right now. I wanted it to be a little bit, have that sharper edge. And so I'm just going in and just adding some more of that violet back into my coloring here, just to give it some extra depth. Like I said, the important thing about layering and adding color is the amount of pressure that you use on your pencils and respecting the tooth of the paper. So that's what I'm doing here right now, just adding a little bit more of that violet to the bottom parts of the petals. Just to kind of darken it up a little bit. And the bottom parts, give it a little bit more dimension, a little bit more depth, just so that everything doesn't look just, you know, look one color. And this is just personal preference for me, but a lot of times when I'm coloring designs and patterns and colors, just kind of, it's just done and achieved by just winging it. Honestly. So I think I'll add a little bit more over here just to kind of balance out some of that darkness with the rest of the flower here. Just lightly going over what I previously colored and blended in, and just adding a little bit more of that, adding more of that violet. Like I said, just to give it some extra depth here. Let's see. And I'm kind of looking back and forth towards, you know, my paper and then to what I'm seeing on my screen from the camera to make sure you guys are seeing it as well and can see the difference. So just kind of just going along, and yeah, I really do love these colors. I'll tell you over and over and over again. Favorite colors: pinks, blues, purples, any of those hues. I really like. And I'm very drawn to those colors. So if you see me use those colors a lot in any of my videos, that is why. And sometimes I will try to divert myself from my usual colors and will attempt something that I haven't done before, just to give myself an extra challenge and just to say, hey, I did it. I'm not really going in any particular order. I'm just kind of going in as I feel that I want, you know, some of the areas up in here to be touched up a little bit, darkened up. I mean, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, you know, if you are following along in this video. You might not have this book, and you might just be looking for ideas on different ways of coloring leaves and flowers, or just because you like me. Okay, so I'm still seeing that I need a little bit more color on this end. It's not quite showing up as much as I want it to, and I'm trying to, I think it's trying to go back over here, and I think it's this one. Yep, it's this one right here that I would like to add a little more depth to the color here. You know, kind of adding a little bit more shade, that shade of violet in there, and just trying to even it out so it looks, at least it looks semi-balanced. Not trying to be all perfect over here, just trying to give it some balance. And how do I know to do that? I really don't. How do I figure out what balance is and what's not? I really don't. I'm just really just going as far as what my eyes are telling me, what, you know, what I think it needs. It's just like almost the same thing as if you were preparing a meal and you just feel like something is missing, something is not quite right. That's kind of like the same way as it is with coloring. And there you go. I think I will stop there, and I got that. I think that looks good enough. What do y'all think? I think that looks good. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use some yellow again for this, for the middle here. This is just the canary yellow, PC 916. Let me see if you guys can see that. I don't know, I don't think my camera is focusing in too well, but yeah. PC 916. And I think it's the kind, that's the light. Got this light that I'm using up on top. And they're LED lighting that my awesome fiance has made for me and stuck up to the top part of my desk so that I can see better, see what I'm coloring better. And he's awesome at doing that kind of stuff for me. Anything to help me and make life a little bit easier to deal with. And so there. So now I've got that part done. And now I guess we'll go ahead and color them leaves right there. So I'm going to go back to my colors that I used earlier in the leaves that I colored earlier with the other blossom, and that was my chartreuse. So that was, I used that, see if I can get these on here right. That kelp green, PC 1090. It's really hard to focus on these, some of these cameras here. Okay, and then I've got the chartreuse again, just showing you guys these colors just in case you needed it to refer back to for coloring, and that is PC 989. So I wonder if I need to refocus my camera. Sometimes just a little bit hitting that refocus button helps. I think that helped a little tiny bit, but that's a chartreuse, and then the pale sage. There's that pale sage, and that's PC 1089. So I'm just gonna do what I did earlier and just fill in lightly here, kind of like a little base color with the chartreuse, the leaves here, just lightly going over them. No particular, not being particular right now, just kind of getting in the base color in there. Very light layer. And by using the circular motions, you avoid getting those directional, you know, lines that tend to come through when you're just, you know, using like a back and forth method. With the circular motion, you can pretty much, you know, change your angle and not worry about your pencil lines showing through too much, you know. Okay, so there you go. I got that light layer of that chartreuse down, and now I'm going to go and use, I've got some roly pencils. They're wanting to roll away, and using that kelp green and just going to fill in the color here. Adding some darkness in there. And I'm just going to do this throughout for these three leaves here, these three bigger leaves. Like I said, there's no planned pattern or planned way that I was gonna color this. I'm just going with it. Taking my time and enjoying just the process of coloring and seeing the image come to life. and what I usually, you know, when I'm coloring and doing certain I guess techniques, I guess, that you see me doing. These are things that I just also picked up along the way in my coloring journey and learning all about, you know, coloring, how to make my coloring look a little, you know, look nice and look better. And now I'm going over with my pale sage and just kind of blending all those, that chartreuse and that kelp green that I used, just blending it all together. Just medium light pressure. I don't want to ruin the tooth of my paper, just in case I decide later on that I want to add a little bit more color, and I'm thinking that I will be most likely adding in some more of the kelp green just to make the leaves look a little better here. Well, that was just some light, you know, medium light pressure. And now I'm going to go back and add some more color in with my kelp green. Darken it up a little bit in those areas that I think anyway would benefit from some extra darkness, depth of color. Okay, there you go. Let's see what that's starting to look like. I haven't looked up in my screen yet to see how that's showing up on screen. Okay, I think I'll add a little bit more towards this way. So I'm getting that color depth in there. And sometimes it's just the way, you know, if you guys are not seeing the color, you know, like I am seeing it, you know, on my paper in front of me, it's the lighting. I apologize for that. Sometimes the lighting is not so great. And I am in my bedroom. I'm using LED lighting, and I do have my window shades drawn up to my left. That's the only window that I have in this room at this time. And it kind of is a gloomy day. No actual sunshine. It's just meh, gloomy day. I think it's like in its 50s right now here in Arkansas. So not a lot of sunshine coming through right now. But that's okay. I really cannot tolerate heat very well. It was pure torture to me when we lived in Vegas, and that dry desert heat really got to me. Okay, so let me see. I'm trying to just look, you see, I think I'm gonna add some chartreuse here and give it some extra brightness in some areas. Also blends in some of that color in there. And I said this area right here looks like it doesn't have much color, but that's just the lighting. I promise you it does. And I'll be able to show you that here once, you know, up close. Once we're all done here, I'm just going to finish coloring up these leaves. And I'm purposely actually making these videos a little bit slower and turning into, like, you know, parts, so that it's easier for y'all to follow along and see exactly, you know, what I'm doing. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. Just letting you guys actually see what's going on. Okay, so I think I need to sharpen my kelp green here, so I'm going to sharpen this using my Tea Gal sharpener just to give it a little bit of, give it some pointiness, give some pointiness. And I think I'll go ahead and do the same to the rest of my pencils, just so that it's nice and fresh. And hopefully they don't keep, they like to roll away. I do have an even surface, but apparently my pencils just don't want to stay. Okay, so I've got everything sharpened now. Okay, move these guys over to an area that I can pick it up later easily. And there I go, blocking the camera with my hand. Okay, so I'm going to continue on and add some more of that kelp green to the rest of my leaves, just like I did previously. Just kind of picking and choosing where I want this kelp green to land on. I really don't like harsh edges, so I will blend those, you know, harsher lines out later. And that's why it's always, you know, another good importance to color using those, you know, small circular type motion strokes. Helps fill in your paper, you know, fill in the color in better into the tooth of the paper, especially if you hold your pencil up upright like this. That really helps, you know, when you're doing the circular motions, having that, you know, sharp pencil. It helps get all that color in there nicely. And when you also use a light hand, instead of having a heavy death grip like I used to, you can soften up. You know, you can go dark, you know, in the darker areas that you want it dark, and then you can come out lightly, you know, in other areas where you don't have to press so hard, and just, you know, slowly getting that color, you know, from dark to light or light to dark, however which way you want it to show up to be. It just makes it easier to do. It's easier to add color, you know, a little bit at a time and slowly, and get the effects that you want, instead of going in there with that heavy hand, and then once it's there, you've ruined the, you know, ruined the tooth of your paper, and it's harder to take away any excessive colors, you know, mistakes that you have made or whatnot. Okay, so that's that one there, and I think I want to add, there's a little bit of white showing over that way. Okay, so that's that one leaf, and then I'm going to go ahead and pick up my pale sage, and remembering not to keep crossing my hands over in front of the camera there. I yet have learned to not do that also often. So YouTubing is still very, very new to me. Okay. So now I'm just using that pale sage again and just blending in the chartreuse and the kelp green that I used earlier. Chartreuse I used to lie down as a base color, and then I used the kelp green to give the leaf a little bit more dark green dimension color, just using a very light hand, light pressure. and just taking my time to achieve what I want to achieve. And I just do this until I'm happy with, you know, happy with what I've got, or I've got the desired effect that I was searching for, you know, wanting to accomplish. So there's that. And now that I got that blended in, I'm going to go back in and just add a little bit more of that kelp green, just to add more depth. That's all that is, just adding a little bit more depth to the color. It's just nice to see different variations of color hues being used than just one flat color. I think it makes, you know, the piece come out a little bit more interesting, and it's your own personal touch. It's how you interpret an artist's line work. The color that you add on is your own interpretation, and no one can tell you whether that's right or wrong, because it's yours. Okay, so there's that part. And okay, maybe to add on a little bit more dimension, or not really dimension, add a little brightness, I guess you could say. I'm gonna pick and choose, use my chartreuse here, and just lightly go over right there in the middle areas of the leaf, blending some of them colors in, just to give it some brightness, I guess you could say. Different hues in that leaf. Okay, I think this one's looking a little rough on top here. Let's see if I can kind of soften it up a little bit. It's just the way I'm looking at it, I guess. I mean, I don't know how you guys are seeing it watching the video. Just kind of adding on a little bit here and there. Okay, I'm just seeing some areas that look like they have some of the white spots of that paper showing through, and I definitely don't like that. Okay, so that's good. There we go. Okay, now back over to my kelp green, and we've got that third leaf right here that we're going to go ahead and fill in with color. Filling it in, adding in that color, soft circular strokes in here. Hopefully I'm not blocking the camera too much with my hand. I really need to pay attention to that so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. Trying to come in with a different angle without me having to turn my page around. I really don't want to do that to you guys. So just trying to come in at different angles so you guys can see what I'm doing. And adding some of that kelp green to the edges of this leaf. There we go. And let's see. I think I want to add a little bit more on this side. Okay, I'll stop with that there and come over with my pale sage and blend those colors in together. And sometimes you can be surprised of the effect that you will get, you know, after you used all your, you know, colored in your main, with your main colors, and then you go ahead and blend it. I have amazed myself sometimes of the effects that have been created doing this. It's like, oh, look at that. Everything just kind of, you know, I'll be like, everything just kind of blended in nicely there together and just worked very well. And sometimes it can be even something that I wasn't even thinking that it might go well with each other, you know, different colors and stuff. And then once I blended it all in together, it just kind of worked. Okay, so back in with my kelp green and adding some more of that kelp green here to give it some more depth. There you go. Just adding on some extra. Give it some extra oomph. Just trying to make it look pretty. I mean, Jade Summer's work is pretty. Don't get me wrong, I love her stuff. And I have quite a few of her digital work that I have to color and give it a go and see what kind of justice I can give her work. So there's that. Okay, I think I've got enough kelp green going on there for now. I'm going to come back in with my chartreuse. See, it's my chartreuse. 989. And just gonna pick and choose to add a little bit of brightness here. In little select little areas. This kind of makes the leaf a little bit look a little bit more interesting than just one flat color. So there you go on that. So we got that blossom done. Now let's see about me picking this up and letting you guys get a closer look at it. There you go. You see that? Let's see if I can get it focused a little bit more. There you go. You can see there's a little bit more white to the paper. That's the white of the paper that you're seeing. And I can just go over that, you know, with either a colorless blender pencil, which I do have here. See, I have one of those little guys here that is getting short too. Lifespan is kind of meeting its end there. And I'm just going to sharpen this a little bit and just show you. This way it doesn't take away any more color on or add any more color on to my work. And it just fills in those white specks of the paper. And you don't even need a heavy hand when you're using the Prismacolor colorless blender. I mean, this really helps fill in those white spaces with color. Every now and again I do find myself having to do, you know, use my blender, especially when I'm using paper that has a lot more tooth, especially with cardstock. I really do not like seeing the, you know, the whites of paper show through I mean, I like to give it a nice, even, you know, look. And some people can deal with it, and then there's some like me that just like, no, I do not want to see that. So, I mean, you can see if if you can see the difference already on some of the ones that I have ran the Prismacolor colorless blender on, you can just tell that those whites are being covered up without affecting my colors that I have previously laid down. Just being careful not to drag too much of that color. See what I mean? You can tell the difference of the ones that I have used the colorless blender on versus the ones that I haven't yet, and you can still see some white specks. So based on your own personal preference, you can continue to do this to get rid of those white spots just using a light hand. And another piece of advice that I can give you when using your Prismacolor blender, if you've got darker colors and lighter colors in one area, it is best to start with your lighter color first to blend, and then go into your dark, unless you want to add on some of that dark into, blend in and drag in some of that darkness into your lighter color. And also, once you're done with that specific color and you're switching over to another color, always get your blender and scrape off the rest of that color onto some scratch piece of paper, just to get whatever color that you last used off the tip. Otherwise you're going to end up introducing that color in to the new color that you are working with. So it wouldn't be very cool to add, let's say, blue to part of your coloring that's all, like I say, like yellow. You'd end up with green there somewhere, or with a speck of blue. And most colored pencils are not very easy to come off. And once you make mistakes like that, but it will just prevent you from making that mistake if you just remember to clean off the tip of your colorless blender. And I'm just going along and just using this blender and finishing up getting all that white out. And I'm thinking here, it's like, gosh, I wonder how boring y'all think I am right now. I do hope that at least some of these, videos and what I'm showing you is helping some of you guys. I know there's a lot of experts out there that are probably telling me, saying that what I'm doing is wrong. And I wouldn't know, because like I said, I'm not a professional. I did not go to any art school or whatnot. I'm just doing what feels right to me, and something that I'm just enjoying doing. So, and let's see, also with Prismacolors, since they are wax-based pencils, they do have a tendency to leave this waxy like appearance and substance behind, especially if you've layered in a lot of colors, or if you used a heavy hand. What I have learned along the way of learning is just to get and I have my rag here that I use for my coloring, you know, it's my art rag, and I just kind of just wipe it off a little bit, get some of that wax off. Not too hard where I'm like dragging the color off, but I just do that and it helps take some of that wax off. And if you guys are hearing my cat in the background, he's mad. I locked him out, so he's whining to get in. I'm gonna pause this real quick and I'll come right back, so just so I can let my cat in. Okay, I'm back, and this is what we've gotten accomplished so far. And I think what we're going to do next is we're going to work on these leaves right here. See these little guys right there? And I think I might include those too. I'm just going to work on those little guys and those. And I don't want to have too much green in this piece, you know, in the circle area. So I think I'm going to do some like orangey yellows in those areas. And these are going to be some little tight little spots too, so make sure that your pencils are sharp. And I am trying to see about colors here, just picking from my jar that I have my premieres in, and I think I'm going to use this sunburst yellow. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to use the sunburst yellow, I figured, and let me see for the rest. And also I've got just regular orange, and that is PC 918. You guys can see that? Hopefully you guys can see that okay. And then a canary yellow as well. So those are the three colors that I have chosen to do those leaves that I pointed out just a little while ago. And I'm trying to see if you guys can see this. My lighting is not working with me. It is kind of starting to get dark here. So okay, so PC 917, which is the sunburst yellow. Not see, can't quite get that to focus in for some reason. And then I've got PC 918, which is just orange. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then I got my little bitty canary yellow, PC 916. Okay, so let's see how we're going to go about this. Move that out of the way. I'm going to hold on to that. So I guess I'll start right here. And I'm going to move the camera in a little bit closer so you guys can see exactly what I am doing here. A little bit closer there. I think that could be better. Refocus it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I'm looking at my finger here. You see that? You see that dryness there? Yeah. Okay. Anywho, just ignore that and just look at the pretty colors. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the bottoms of these leaves here with the sunburst yellow. So get that started. Just add a little bit of splash of color down that way. And I will continue to do this. until I get up to the end of this viney leafy thing. See, where does it go up to? So yeah, it ends around right here. Okay, I'm gonna add that in there, lightly adding in some color in there. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to get it's into the early evening now. It's like almost, well, it's almost 5:30, and it's starting to get dark, so my lighting is kind of starting to dwindle for correct lighting, and one day I will have that all fixed. But I think you guys can still see what I'm doing all right here. I'm hoping anyway. Okay. Still got a little bit more going on here. Continue on with just light circular strokes as usual. Light layer there. It's easier to add than it is to take away, so that's pretty much what I apply in life. Apply that in life in general anyways. Okay. Get that in there. And we'll add the orange to that. So this time around, instead of going dark, you know, at the bottoms, I'm going a little bit lighter, kind of like a medium tone of orangey yellow here. That's what I'm calling this sunburst yellow. That's how I'm describing the color. And so there. So I've got that sunburst yellow in there now, and now I'm going to take the orange, the PC19, or 18, I'm sorry, PC918, and I'm going to go and add some color to the top part of that. And get a little bit of extra color in there. Differentiate itself, give the page a little bit more pop, some eye-catching color, some brightness to it. And just coloring in. Just very softly. And also I'm having to kind of mentally remind myself about rotating the, you know, my pencil lead here, so that I can minimize the amount of time that I have to run my pencils through a sharpener. Rotate the pencil leads every now and again while coloring. See, just a quick rotation, and it gives the lead a chance to be used on the other side, you know, on the other sides of the lead while you're coloring, and helps keep that sharpened edge a little longer. And then if you didn't do that. Okay, hoping you guys can see everything that I'm doing okay here. Get all that. And when I'm done with this color, I'm going to use the canary yellow, and I'm going to use that lightest yellow to blend these two colors together. And I think that would help make the color, you know, gradually run into each other instead of having two harsh lines in there, in that, you know, in that leaf, in that picture there. And just make it blend together more. Make your image a little bit more interesting. Okay. I'm almost to the end of this vine of leaves. I guess we could call it that, I guess. And I'm really trying not to block the camera, or, you know, the image with my hand. So if you're just, you know, paying attention a little bit there and just seeing that every now and again I will rotate my pencil. It's nothing that, you know, I have to make a big dramatic scene about, but, you know, you can see my fingers, I just kind of just twist it around in my hand, you know, as I'm coloring, and that rotates the tips of it. There you go. And let's see, make it a little bit darker up there. I see some white marks, some white still kind of showing through from the paper, through the orange here. And that's because I'm using light layers. I'm not trying to go down heavy, and I'm trying to be nice to my pencils. Okay. So there we go. I've gotten the last of that leaf tip colored with the orange. Okay. And now, just to blend everything together, I'm going to take that canary yellow, the PC916, and just with some, you know, medium light pressure, just bring everything together and just blend those colors in, so there's no harsh lines, and everything kind of just, those two colors, the orange and the sunburst yellow, would just gradually run into each other. And I'm going to continue to do this until this vine of leaves is done. You know, having some yellow orange leaves, you know, kind of help the picture not to be overwhelmed with too much green, although, you know, this is a garden picture and it would be perfectly acceptable if you wanted to do all the leaves green. I would just suggest that in order to give your page a little difference in there and a little bit more, make it pop out a little bit more, is to use different hues, and you would be amazed on how much a difference just using different hues of the same color can help your image and make the colors pop and give it different dimensions and give it a different depth. There you go. I have done pictures where everything, or like, you know, a garden scene and or flower scene or whatnot, and I have done pictures where it was all the leaves are done in green, and but what I did is exactly what I was just saying just a little while ago, is using different hues of green, just so that it didn't look too flat and there was different, you know, hues, and it just gave the picture, just made it look a little bit more, you know, made it look a little bit more prettier, I guess you could say, having different hues and having something different to look at. And like I said, I'm just using this canary yellow just with light medium pressure and just blending those two colors in with each other. So I've got that nice gradation of colors, no harsh lines of one color meeting up with another, and you can see that. So you see that? So I think it looks pretty cool. I like it. And then I've got the rest of these others leaves that are going to be using that same technique. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go and start off with this guy here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my sunburst yellow once again and just give it some color there. A little bit of color. With this one, I'm just going to leave the sunburst yellow as a little bit of background, I guess, you know, base color on that longer part. And then with these parts right here, then that's when I'm going to just use the bottom, color the bottom part of the leaves. And then I will bring that orange in and work that in to the tips of these leaves. There we go. Hopefully I'm not blocking anything there. Okay. Alright, so I think we'll add a little bit more sunburst down here at the bottom. Okay, and now I'm gonna go ahead and use my PC 918, just my orange, and work that in this here. I think that would be some kind of stem of some sort. I'm not quite sure what to call it, but nonetheless it is part of the picture and it needs color. Everything needs color. You can choose whatever colors you want to use, whatever you're comfortable with. What I'm doing here and what I'm showing you is just something that I'm doing as my own personal preference on how I am winging it, and just kind of just choosing colors as I go along. And that's pretty much how I color. And maybe one of these days I'll take my time to actually, you know, work out my color test page and get my pencils all labeled out and you know, a color chart. There you go. That's what I was trying to say. And I heard it's good to use, and I hear a lot of colorists doing it. I've been meaning to. I just haven't. I don't know why. I keep telling myself, oh, I don't need it. I probably won't even use it. Because, like I said, I usually wing my images and wing how I'm going to color something. And just kind of just testing colors as I go. And if I'm not quite sure about it, I usually just get a piece of scratch paper to the side and work that way. And see if the colors would, you know, work well with each other. And right now I chose to use, you know, this orange yellow color, some yellow, some orange, just to give some brightness around this part of the image. Otherwise, if I had my real choice, I would just end up using all pinks and purples and blues. So we're going to put some bright colors in here. And okay, I'm just looking at my areas that I think might need a little bit more color, just so that some of that white is not too obvious and not showing through too much. And just using that light layering, circular motion. You're going to hear me say that a lot, and that's just a reminder just as a reminder. So just in case you forget. Okay, so I think I've got enough color of orange in there. Now I'm going to bring in my canary yellow once again, and just going to bring those colors together. Let's see, PC 916. I'm going to bring light, light medium pressure to blend. And I'm just going to do this throughout, just like we did with the first set of leaves. This is the same thing I'm doing here. Just bringing the colors together by using, a lighter color to blend. And this is just another way of blending colors with each other. Yellow is always a good color to use for, to add some depth, some different hue to some colors. That's what I found anyway. And there you go. Let me see if I've got any areas up in here. It's just the way that the lighting is hitting what I'm seeing on my screen. It makes it look like I see I'm seeing white spots when actually there's not. It's just the way that it's just the lights hitting the picture. Okay, so we've gotten that part done. Now we have some more here that I'm going to try to get my camera pointed to, and with the rest of this image, and work on some of these other leaves that I see here that can use some brighter color. I'm going to sharpen my pencil just so that I have a nice sharp edge to work with to get into this little okay, now it wants to roll around, so I'm going to put that in the corner. Since I'm working in tight little spaces, it gives better control, and so that I don't go and color outside the lines. Just giving my pencils a quick run over through my T-Gal sharpener. And let's see, where do we want to start off with? We always start off on here, so I'm just going to get these leaves right here. Actually, I'm using orange down that way, and I actually wanted to use sunburst yellow. Sorry about that. I kind of got my colors a little misplaced there. Wasn't paying attention to the pencil that I was holding. So yeah, in this area right here, I'm just doing the same thing as I've done to the other leaves, putting down some sunburst yellow on the lower part of the leaves, adding some orange on top later, and blending it in with the canary yellow. Okay, just checking all my leaves here to make sure I'm getting the leaves in this area. all filled in with the color that I want. And there has been times where I've actually thought I was done with a picture and then realized, oh my goodness, I have some leaves that didn't get colored. Or a flower that was hidden that didn't get colored. And that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going in with my orange here. Light pressure, just adding some of that orange to the tips. Okay. And that's the one fun thing about working with colored pencils is just the ability to combine colors and come up with different effects. And I have lots to learn. I really want to be able to learn a lot more and how colors work and all that stuff. And so I'm constantly nonstop watching videos and learning about how other people go about coloring their coloring books or whatnot, and picking up techniques here and there. And I'm more than happy to share those with you. Share whatever I learn and pass it on to you folks. Okay, so now I'm back and I'm going to use my canary yellow once again. There you go. That's my canary yellow. If I can ever learn how to turn it the right way. PC 916, canary yellow. And same thing, just going to use that canary yellow just to blend all the two colors that I've used, the sunburst yellow and orange. Medium, light medium pressure, circular motion, and just blending them together. Am I using the proper terms when I'm explaining things to you? I have no clue. I may be, I may be not. I'm just kind of calling it as I see it. Okay, so my fiance just came home from work, so I ended up having to pause my video here for a short time, and I'm just continuing on with what we were doing, and was just using that canary yellow just to blend in those two other colors that I had laid down on these leaves. Okay, so now I've got that part done. Now I'm looking to see which other parts would I want to add that color to, and I'm thinking about right here. I can go and add it on right here. I'm not quite sure if I want to add any more here or if I wanted to do that green. I think I might just do these leaves right here in this yellow orange tone, and then I will choose some greens to use for this side and for that side right there. And let's see. Okay, so I'm going to start with my sunburst yellow as I have been, and we'll go ahead and take care of this vine area right here. So let's see if I can get my camera to where I'm not blocking and you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so let me see. Can you guys start? Okay, so I'll start off from the bottom down here so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing, and then I'll work my way to the top. So once again, just using the sunburst yellow, PC 917, 917, just line down that lighter color on the bottom of the leaves. And I will continue to do that until I reach top. Really try not to block the work that I'm doing over here. Okay. Just continuing up the line here. I'm just adding that sunburst yellow to the bottom here of these leaves. Okay. Rotating my pencil tip here every now and again while I'm coloring. I can feel and see that the tip of my pencil is starting to become a little nub. And I like my pencils to be sharp at the tip, especially when you're working in small, areas like this where it is kind of important that you stay within the lines so that you don't end up with sloppy looking work. So, okay, looks like I've reached the end of this vine of leaves. And I've gotten my sunburst yellow down, so now I'm going to go ahead and use my orange PC 918. Okay. So the same thing like I've been doing in the last few leaves. Light layer of that orange here on the tips. I've done leaves. And I think after this, I will go ahead and switch over and make part 3 of this tutorial. I guess you'll call it tutorial, watch me color, whichever way you want to consider it. So I will finish this part of the drawing where I'm doing these leaves, and then I will end up having a part 3. Just like I said, just trying to take my time with you folks and trying to explain what I'm doing. And hopefully I can be of some help into your coloring journey. Although I can probably, sit here and color all day and just let my camera just play the whole day and color. I don't think my body would appreciate that. I do have to sit on one of those memory foam cushions for my chair, and I do have to take pretty often breaks. So you guys see, pausing in and out, that's just me having to pause my camera and having to get up because I need to be able to stretch and work out my legs a little bit for a few minutes at a time while I'm making videos like this, or any time that I'm coloring. Otherwise Otherwise, my legs and feet end up swelling up. And that's just part of my disability that I have to learn how to adjust to still. And okay, so now I've gotten my sunburst yellow and the orange done. I'm going to go and continue on with my canary yellow PC 916. Okay. And just doing the same thing I have been doing with these leaves, and just using the canary yellow to blend. Light, medium pressure, and to bring those two colors together. Okay. Just a little bit there. Okay. Let me get that. I'm just trying to make sure that there's not there's not any harsh lines in between, the coming together of the sunburst yellow and the orange there. There you go. Okay. Getting that in there, and this part should be almost done. I think the page is starting to come together pretty nicely. I really do like Jade Summer's work. I hope you guys do check out the link to her that I'm going to be putting up here with this video, with a link to her books on Amazon. Because I do, like I said, I do think she does some awesome work. Okay, so there you go. So we finished that. And let me just zoom out here a little bit, and so I can show you what we've completed so far with this part 2. And I'm trying to get this. So there you go. Hopefully I'm not giving you guys a headache over there. And the lighting's a little different right now, but that's what we got so far. Okay, so I'm going to end this part, and this is part 2, and then we will go and continue on to part 3, and that would include working the different other greens of the leaves that we're going to do here, and try to see what colors we can come up with for these flowers here. And it also looks like we got some bugs. I think that might be a butterfly or dragonfly of some sort. And we got different flowers and stuff. We're going to figure out what colors to use next. Okay? Alright, see you guys in the next run. Thank you.